we got some Mishimoto parts in. I'll cut back with the top of the box already open, and we will continue this on. In this box we got a couple of goodies. We got some extra hose, which is going to be for my catch can. We have one leak on the RX8 on one of the breather lines, which we're going to replace with a catch can. This is fun because I'm trying to do this footage while I have my daughter here, because I want to go to the install and I don't want to wait till I don't have my daughter, so I'm juggling a child and this. But yeah, we got the magnetic oil drain plug so that if there's any metal in the oil system as we're doing changes, we can find it. The RX8's ready for an oil change. We went to Orlando last weekend, had our whole OSW thing. There's some footage over at Trick Flow Tony Racing's channel of that. I'm going to go a little more in depth in just this drain plug. Obviously, everybody knows what vacuum hoses look like. I mean, if you don't, I can show you some video, but that's pretty straightforward. So for this drain plug, I'm going to go in depth here a little bit. Magnetic drain plugs have been around for a while. It's kind of a staple in racing. It's an easy way to see if anything inside your motor's grinding. You do an oil change, if there's any filings stuck on the end of your tip, you know what's up. This is very cool because it's anodized black, has that little M for Mishimoto on it. You know, aside from when the car goes up on a lift, nobody's ever going to see it. The RX8 is not a show car, but you never know, man. Maybe down the road this will actually be visible for people. Maybe I'll care. But yeah, it's got a nice aluminum crush washer there. Looks like this is set to go right in. So as soon as I do an oil change, we will follow up with this on how it fits. But it looks nice, so my first impressions are good. My daughter's trying to steal apart here, but you know, we shall test the magnetism. Oh, that's strong. That's good. That's a very strong magnet. I mean, that's a heavy pair of clippers for the farm here, and that magnet picks them right up. So I would say that it should be pretty effective at eliminating metal debris from the oil system, which, you know, aside from giving you advanced warning on potential wear issues, it's also a good thing to not have metal fragments floating around in your oil system. It kind of reduces your ability to cool your oil, especially if your filters are all clogged up and such. So there we go. And it's 6061 aircraft grade aluminum. Gotta love it. Neodymium magnets, I believe that, because you can definitely feel the strength as it pulls. I'm gonna go spend a little time with my daughter because she wants my attention, and I'll be back with y'all in a few hours. What's up? I'm back here at the RX8. Gone ahead and I've gotten her jacked up. During our outing at Orlando Speed World last week, or the weekend before last, I left most of my tools at Trick Flow Tony's house because I was doing some work with him up there. We did a K&N install for his cousin, and we started to do the ignition on his car, but then we decided to just go racing. Got to do that another day. But I left all the tools up there is the point. So I'm using, once again, some rusty, shitty tools because my fucking toolbox is at Tony's house. We've got a Purelator 1 air filter here. Air filter. Fuel filter, oil filter. They're all fucking filters, right? It's all the same. Yeah, we got a new oil filter. I got her jacked up. Already gone ahead and put the oil pan in place underneath. I'm gonna climb up under there now. I'm gonna go ahead and drop the oil screw. Car already warmed up for about 10 minutes and then cooled off for another 5 or 10 minutes here. The oil should be nice and viscous, ready to flow out. Get her dumped, get some fresh oil in there. Should be ready for some more cruising. Be right back with you here in a second. All right, so hopefully this camera's gonna stay in position here while I climb under. Go ahead and pop that oil plug loose. It's a lot easier on a lift, isn't it? I'm going to climb back under here with the breaker bar. Make this job a little bit easier. Because that sucks. Well, not having a ratchet is definitely not helping this situation at all. Alright, let's see if we got any luck here. The ratchet might not work, but I just try turning the socket over 90 degrees and look at that. We got a much better angle here. We gotta get the breaker bar in there. And look at that. So, half of this stuff when you're working on cars comes down to finding a way. Yeah, they always say where there's a will, there's a way. This is definitely the truth. You gotta find a way. And you gotta be willed to do so. Oh, that's a pretty flow. So now, while that's draining, I'll go ahead and jack the car back up a little. I'll pull the jack stands, drop it down so that it can completely drain. All right, that's about as low as we can go without completely crushing the oil pan. It's about level, can't complain about that. We will resume under the hood. We'll wash up my hands, get this oil off. I like to work clean. Yeah, buddy. This is the part where most people would go grab an oil filter wrench. Not me. I'll reach down there and I use my bare hands. So yeah, like I was saying, let's see if we can get a shot there on it. Well, the oil filter's there, you'll see it in a second. I use my bare grip technology to get it rotating. And once that technology gets it moving, you've got this whole situation where you don't need anything to get the damn filter out. Now, I would prefer to use a wrench, but there's so many vacuum lines around this particular oil filter that I figure it's worth the effort to just do what I just did there. With my bare hands, because then I don't have to worry about cracking a vacuum line and having some other shit to fix afterwards. So that's the old filter. She's pretty dirty there. You can tell she's ready for replacement. I'm gonna dump this in the oil pan. Oh, I won't be able to get to the oil pan yet because the oil pan is currently underneath the car. I'm gonna go ahead and prime this filter with a little bit of fresh oil, get her stuck in place here, and then we can go underneath. We can install this new Mishimoto magnetic oil pan drain. All right, now as I said, I've gone ahead and I've primed this. I went through a little bit of the fresh 520 that's gonna be going into the car in here. I went ahead and lubricated the new seal real well, made sure all the plastics inside got it lubricated. Still a little bit there to go. Get all the filter element itself nice and wet. Basically what we're doing here is making sure that when we go ahead and fire up the car, there's not a huge delay on the oil getting to the engine, filling up the filter. The system works inverted from most vehicles. If you look there, let's see if we can get a shot of it. There it is. That's the oil filter seat. All right, now we're on manual focus, so let's see if we can't get a better shot of that sucker there. There it is. See her there? That's where the oil filter goes. It's vertical. Typically, these things are parallel with the ground, or the filter comes from underneath, at least in most applications I've ever seen. I usually put the filter in there already full of oil. Today, we can't do that, because if I put this thing full of oil, I'm just gonna pour it all out. So we wet the element real well, lubricated all the seals. We'll go ahead and put it in place, top off the engine. We'll fire it up, let it run for a couple minutes, and then we'll check the level and top it off as needed. Go ahead and get this guy in. I'll take him in upside down so we don't lose any of that excess oil that I've already placed in there. And we'll rotate it right at the housing. Thread it on. For now, I'll just give it a little quick hand tightening. I'll go grab a rag, clean it off, get any excess oil off the area, and I'll give it another hand tightening, a final tightening once it's not all oily and slick as it is right now, because it's definitely oily right now. Not getting much grip there. Be right back. All right, so we're back here with a little microfiber towel. I'm gonna get in here, clean the filter up real nice, clean up the mounting spot, try to clean off any excess oil. I don't like seeing smoke after I do an oil change. A lot of people don't mind that. I do. Kind of weird. I'm a little OCD sometimes. Maybe about the wrong things, but yeah. So she's on there nice and snug now, hand tightened. All the excess oil seems to be wiped away nicely. And that's a golden installation of a new oil filter. Now we'll have to go ahead and lift the car back up. I would assume that it's done draining at this point. Get the car back up, get underneath. We'll throw in this new Mishimoto oil drain plug. Now, I'm not gonna bother setting her down on the jack stand right now because all we're doing is going under tightening up the oil pan. I'm just gonna have the jack stand in place for safety in case this side of the car decides to drop while I got my arm up under there. Well, let's put her in. Now, I'm looking at this and this does not look like a 19 millimeter, so I do believe I'm gonna have to grab my 21 mil wrench, if I'm not mistaken. Tighten this one up. Let's grab the 21 and see if that'll do it. That might even be like a fucking 24 or some shit. Further investigation, aka looking up the tech notes, found out this is a 24 millimeter socket. And luckily, when I was working up there in Cocoa Beach, I didn't take my giant sockets with me because we didn't need them. So I do have my giant 24 millimeter socket to put on this here wrench that don't actually ratchet. And we can go ahead and tighten that sucker up. One more little partial turn to make that M sit nice and perfectly level. That's kind of interesting that it worked out like that. Typically, these things don't work out like this. I highly doubt it was something accounted for. I think I just got lucky that the threading here is just about right for that Mishimoto to line up. Gotta love that. We'll wipe off the excess that come down off the oil plug. Some of the excess that came down from the filter here. We're clean.